Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about Batman, the 1960s television show. And more specifically, we're going to be talking about the episode with the villain Shame. That's not Shane, but Shame with an M. And what makes this so interesting is the casting choices for this character, which I'll go to in just a little bit. I want to thank every single one of you for watching this video, supporting all the work that I do. Don't forget to check out my channel for more classic TV videos. Now, as I mentioned, these are two back-to-back episodes. The first one is called Comeback Shame. The next one is called It's the Way You Play the Game. They kind of rhyme, which is really cool. Let's focus on the first one before we get into the details of this casting. Now in Comeback Shame, he is back, the villain Shame, and he is using stolen vehicle parts to assemble a truck. And the purpose is to make this truck so that the Batmobile won't even be able to catch him. Now Bruce Wayne actually finds out and tricks him into stealing his own limo, which he and Batman, Robin as well, they use to track down his hideout. But the villain, Shame, gains the upper hand when he has the fight, and the dynamic duo find themselves staked to the ground in the path of a cattle stampede. It's pretty comical. Now, the second part of this two-parter episode essentially is with the same villain. Now, with this special truck that I mentioned, Shame goes to work on his final caper, which is the theft of 4 prize cattle worth over $1 million. Now, for this, Batman and Robin deduce his plan, but realize that they're too late to stop him, and they're too slow to catch him. With little left to go on, the duo employ their bat logic to try to figure out his next move. Now, the actor they chose to play Shame was, of course, a play on the Western concept of Shane. Now, they chose Cliff Robertson, but that wasn't the original concept. He was not going to be the original man to play Shame. In fact, they were going to choose Clint Eastwood, which is mind-blowing if you think about it. Someone with the star power, the movie fame of Clint Eastwood. Well, how did that happen? Well, actor Cliff Robertson himself discussed this, and he remembered that the producers were making several calls ahead of time saying, hey, we would love to have you on the show. Now, at the time, he was really busy with not one but 2 movies, and they gave him creative freedom. They asked him, what kind of character would you like to play? And he said, well, it might be kind of fun to play a very, very dumb cowboy, but he had to take himself seriously. He thought that that was a very interesting twist. So they decided to do a takeoff, of course, on Shane. And that's where they came up with the name Shame. Not only that, but he was also given freedom to pick his own costume, and he did many of his stunts, which is fairly rare, especially in Hollywood. Now, we asked Stanley Ross, who was one of the writers of the show, and in terms of casting, he was the one who spilled the beans about Clint Eastwood, because, as I mentioned, he was the original choice. He was the one they really wanted to go after. And so they wrote the scripts in mind with the fact that, hey, Clint Eastwood would be perfect for this, but essentially it wouldn't happen. The agents, they didn't come to an agreement that suited both parties, and so unfortunately Clint had to pass, the production had to pass. It was a no-go from both of them. So they thought, who could we use that would suit the role? And they thought, well, Cliff Robertson's available. In fact, we'll give him creative freedom that I spoke about. And it worked out pretty well. Or did it? I would love to let you chime in the comments below. Did Cliff Robertson do really good with this part? How would you think that Clint Eastwood would have played this part? Would he have made it silly and campy? Or would he made it really serious and maybe added a bit of depth to the character, a bit of gravitas to the actual character? The presence of Clint Eastwood on this show would have made the episode better, worse, or maybe was Cliff an even better choice? I don't know. I would love to see your thoughts down below. But as I mentioned, I think my mouth would be on the floor to see Clint Eastwood play this character. In my eyes, I think it would be a little bit more exciting just because of his star power. But I'm really excited to see your comments down below. Thank you so much, guys and gals. I hope you enjoy videos like this. I always want to give you all the insights that I can find. We'll see you next time, guys and gals. Thank you so much for watching, and most importantly, be hopeful. Thank you so much to all the supporters I have on Patreon, especially my Diamond tier patrons. Vito L, Tommy G, Ricky, David D, Citizen Kane, Sally N, and Grace U. If you want to find more exclusive content, visit my Patreon page, links in the description.